Hello and welcome to the video. Just wanted to show off the sort of latest eBay purchase, and yeah, it's an Apple laptop. That is the 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch. They had a 15-inch at the same time, and you can tell them apart by basically the touch bar. The 15-inch, that touch bar will be a one solid thing with the integrated escape key. For the 16-inch, they separated it. But these are, to me, and in my opinion anyway, great little machines. And becoming a pretty good bargain, which I can explain later. Yeah, this one's actually in really good condition, no scrapes or scratches. Came with a generic charger. I'll have to get a regular charger for it, but this one's a pretty high configuration. So this is just an 8-core chip. I believe that was the base chip. But the memory, 64 gigabytes of memory. Somebody optioned this out too. Yeah, they even went with the 5600M GPU. And I had to look it up. I was able to find a picture. What that cost somebody. That RAM was a $800 option, and then $700 for that GPU. And then the machine was $2,800. I think I did the math with like the sales tax in my region. It was a $4,500 laptop at the time. Now this one's actually a pretty late production model. So according to Wikipedia, these were discontinued in late October of 2021, even though they call it 2019 MacBook Pro. They actually made them for a few more years. So October of 2021, they were fully discontinued. And this one, according to this little coconut battery application, yeah, right near the end, August of 2021. So 2 months to go, somebody spec'd out a $4,500 laptop. The M series computers were actually out already. They came out in 2020. Some of the early low models, the base MacBook Pro, and I think the MacBook Air had it as well. Yeah, this was a pretty late model. I think somebody has changed the battery, possibly. The manufacturing date makes sense, right? 7/4 of 21. The battery would have been manufactured before the whole computer of 8/16/21. But the capacity doesn't make sense. These should have, all right, what does it say? It says essentially 87 watt hour. This should have from the factory a 99.8 watt hour battery. So it seems odd. The production date makes sense, but that capacity doesn't, the design capacity. Obviously, the full charge capacity is going to be less just from wear. Not too many cycles, but I'll have to open it up and see if that's just a strange aftermarket battery. I would like to open it up eventually to repaste it. But yeah, these machines have become a pretty good bargain on eBay. Like I said, this was $4,500 new. I'll put it on screen when I paid for it. Under $700, I got this whole thing for $630, I think, before shipping and taxes. And this has the terabyte storage as well. Somebody spec'd out, like I said, that much RAM. What does that cost today? 64 gigs of DDR4? That's just nuts. And yeah, just the terabyte storage. They didn't change that. They were fine with 1 terabyte, I guess, but they wanted all the RAM. But that 64 gigs is interesting because that's what my Mac Pro has, the old 2013 Mac Pro. So I think I'll do 1 or 2 comparison videos with that, just in terms of RAM usage. Because this one, yeah, still runs the latest macOS Tahoe. That old Mac Pro obviously doesn't, So this one, for example, we're just sitting at, what is that? Somehow we're using 20 gigabytes just sitting at the desktop. So it'll be interesting to compare it with that older Mac Pro. See how many gigabytes that older OS uses just sitting at the desktop. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Maybe I'll do some comparisons of rendering speeds as well. But yeah, it's in remarkable condition for what you find on eBay. Like I said, they're getting pretty darn cheap. And they're still more than competent, more than capable machines. Maybe a little scuff right there, but yeah, there's no dings, no dents. Yeah, maybe another one right there, but I'll take it. I'm just using the framework charger right now. That works, you know, USB-C. But yeah, building the sort of collection here with the three. They all have their uses, the framework and then the little 12-inch MacBook. Still today, one of my favorite computers they ever made. I mean, you can give you the idea of the size difference between the two. Well, I look forward to just tinkering around with it. Maybe I'll try that crossover application for doing more games than it can normally. But I'm happy with it. They're becoming a great bargain if you're into x86 and want to keep going with it. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to buy one today. The writing's on the wall for the OS support. That's probably the last major software it'll get natively. It should have security updates for a few more years. And then there's always that open core legacy patcher, I think, if you want to try to run any newer operating systems. But yeah, I had one of these a long time ago before I bought the framework. I sold it to kind of justify the expense of it. And now they're getting real cheap on eBay. And that was for a high configuration. I paid $630. I think I've seen some lower configurations in the fours. But the great machines, yeah, just wanted to let you see it. You know, deals are out there if you're willing to take that risk. You never know what you're going to get on eBay, but there it is, the latest purchase, 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch. And yeah, I think they're still good machines. I look forward to just tinkering around with it. Thanks for watching.